Hi YouTube. I hope you're all doing well. Excuse my lighting. It's nothing I can really do about it right now. Um it's sunny out but partly cloudy, so it might get dark and lighter. It's just the way it is today. So I hope you're all doing good. Or I might have already said that. Um there's another report of transgender man that came in first place against running against women. And who came in second place? Another man. Why don't, like I've said, why don't they just eliminate women's sports then if they want to compete against women just to beat them? Well, or just make transgender sports. What's the big deal? It's easier for these men to want to turn into women than it is for them to want to turn to God. They don't want to do that, and they don't want to admit that that's exactly what they're insulting is God's design for woman. Um, these men are thoroughly disgusting. And yes, they are men. I don't care what they do to themselves. Um, a normal person would not change themselves for anything. So it's either for money or fame or whatever they're doing. They're narcissistic. It's evil. It's cruel. They're self centered. There's nothing self sacrificing about these men that would do for other people in the world, because what they're doing to the other people in the world is making a very horrible mistake towards the children in this world. And if somebody thinks differently, just you most likely don't value my thoughts on that, like I most likely don't value yours. And that's where I stand on that. I feel thoroughly disgusted for the little girls coming up in this world that men are not standing up for in a big way. If I was a dad and I'm not a dad, I'm a grandmother of granddaughters and I'm speaking up, but fathers of daughters, I would be raising the roofs on these school board meetings and your different public outlets where you can use your voice to protect the children. And unless you don't think that it's an issue that men want to beat women in any way. If you don't think that's the issue, well, then you should probably be put in a cage too. Because it is a big deal, and that's just what's going on, you know? They say that men are being demasculinated or whatever. Uh, I don't know. There's men that will fight for their families verbally or whatever, at least say something, and there's ones that won't. So that's where we're at. There's people that will fight for the people they love, and ones that won't. Are they cowards if they don't? Yeah, of course. What else do you call it? Is a man that wants to compete against women a coward? It's far worse than being a coward. It's actually a criminal assault against a woman's femininity in her own arena. That's nasty. That's as bad as you get right there. I mean, if a woman wanted to pretend to be a man and she's competing against men, she'd probably expect to 9 times out of 10 get whooped. Most likely. When a man comes in a minute and like 3 seconds faster than any woman, and the one that came in second place came in like 1:08:3 or something, 1 minute 83 seconds or something like that. Both men beating women in their own sports. That's not just disheartening. That's criminal. It sure is. They're letting retarded, greedy, nasty, narcissistic freaks be an example in front of the whole world for what is total destruction of any moral fiber and ethics as far as taking care of women and children. Now, fuck that shit, right? What's that? What does that mean, to defend a woman's honor? They don't have honor. They don't deserve honor. Oh, hell no. Oh, but we have to honor these people that are playing pretend, don't we? And if I say anything about it, I'm a bigot or whatever, your nasty names you call people like me, whatever. Or like I'm old school because I'm boomer or whatever, which is ludicrous because grandmothers have taken care of their families forever. That's what we do. We're the ones who speak up when nobody else will speak up. So all this is nothing new under the sun. So maybe it's time for the son to step aside and let the father do it, right? So that's my outlook on the whole thing. So, yeah, I don't know. I didn't really do a lot of studying or anything today. I had some memories over on Facebook that if I voiced my opinions here on what Israel's doing to Palestine, I would be labeled something else again. So I had to write it over on a platform where I won't get in trouble for doing it. But anyway. Yeah, same like, oh, we weren't allowed to talk about getting the jab or share any virologists that were saying that this isn't the way things are or anything. And now that things have come out in the open that people had lied and people died because of those lies, still nothing's being done about it. Isn't that amazing the way this world works for them? Yeah. Do anything you want to do because you're nasty, and the rest of us just have to put up with it. Yeah, that's pretty rude. I debated whether or not to even do a video today, but I decided to because a lot of people have got the Monday bummers. I used to even hate that. I go into work on Monday and everybody's all crabby and everything and trying to put their low vibing shit on me, and ugh, yikes, you know? Doesn't matter what day it is, it's always, that's the way it is unless you work for yourself. And if you live in a rural area, whatever you do, you might be limited to maybe not a really luxurious lifestyle if you choose to work for yourself, Depends. Depends on where you are and who you work for or do work for and that type of thing. So, but yeah, those are some for me personally, some of the mistakes that I've made. Um, maybe in I probably would have never even had a vehicle if I had paid more in towards my retirement. Um, you know, so I mean, I made sacrifices as it was just to make that happen. So I don't know. Just 1 minute. Please don't run the water. Thank you. So yeah, I don't know. It is disturbing because yeah, I am concerned about the generations coming up. Everything's being pushed out in the public like it's normal, and it's totally devastating for girls and women. If you're a woman and you've ever been beat on by a man, or even if your father was like that, or and you were a little kid, you were less defensive as you could have been. You were defenseless, you know. Totally not an equal playing field. There's no amount of hormones and surgeries that these people can take the extra chromosome away and to make them feminine from the inside out. They don't bleed. They don't have that extra pain and strain and energy taken from them. And that's not replenished, although a woman's blood is, um, you know, replenished. The energy you lose expelling that is sometimes really, really bad. And there's nothing on this planet that I can compare it to, aside from maybe, here could be a comparison for a man. How about we take a scalpel and we just slice you under your nutsack and put a Kotex on it and send you to work? We'll close it up in about 5 days, but you could bleed. It won't be a big hole, it'll just be a little bit of blood, all day long for 5 days. And we'll just do that every 30 days for you. Full moon, nutsack time. There's cures for things when people don't treat other people right. I have a great imagination of things I could do to help people big time, you know. Or we could just hook you up to your wife or your girlfriend, and when she menstruates, that hole will leak and you will too. There's an idea. Yeah, that's a good idea. In fact, the cut should be closer to your urethra. So when you urinate, you can mix the blood in the urine and feel that, like what that's like too, and maybe have a little bit of pain in your lower back and your rectum, and your bowel movement should probably change a little bit, and you should have a headache. And oh, don't forget the PMS. You know, that's when a body is extra sensitive right before you're going to have your period, because that's telling your man that you need extra care coming up shortly, and it might be time to either make a baby or cuddle or give her a little extra love or cook her a meal or clean for her. I don't know. You know, maybe pick up the groceries or do some laundry, whatever. Take out the garbage without being asked. Oh, I don't know. I'm just throwing ideas out there. I have no clue how you run your household or what you do. I'm just thinking, daydreaming, what it might be like if a man took control in a marriage and actually considered a woman as a feminine and not a man. From a female perspective, then the shit wouldn't be going on in this world. That's a fact. But men want to be women because they are the ones that want to be coddled. They didn't grow out of their narcissistic baby steps. Like, babies do think it's all about them. These things never grow out of it. That's the problem right there. They want what they want. They want self gratification. The moment they want something, no matter who gets in their way, that's what they want. And that's the steps they make to make that come true, no matter what it takes. Pretty sad. Yeah, Doug was pretty happy with the Jeep. It doesn't have heat, and the seat needs to be adjusted because the guy who had it was pretty tall, but he got it from a guy that his son and them owned a parts yard, and the frame and the motor was great, low mileage, everything. So they just took parts and put this thing together. But the frame itself and the motor of this thing has never been on the highway. It was used nothing but a plow in this guy's yard forever, and then these other people got it, and so it's not a problem. And just like I thought, Doug's probably gonna put some primer on it, but it's probably gonna be the Ford blue, like a satin primer blue. We've got that on starting to fix the Dodge up front, that shorty. A lot of people want to get that, but we both had one before and we don't want to let it go. And we're not going to probably, but it's real pretty blue. It's about, oh, about like that. Just, and kind of shinier than, a typical primer isn't quite as shiny as if you put the satin in it. Or you can put like a base coat and even, or clear coat it to make it really shiny if you want to, but that doesn't matter. And a lot of people will primer their car like flat primer black and then put like a acrylic finish on it. But I'm not really into that. I like it if it's going to be primer, just leave it primer, especially primer black. It looks good, just flat black, on vehicles, I think. And they're easy to take care of, too. I mean, you can drive them when it's raining or down a country road without having to worry about messing up your paint job. So, anyway. But yeah, he's probably going to paint that and do a little fixing here and there. It doesn't have a heater, and he can make that work too. So, yeah, it's a good little plow. And the plow is worth just alone what we traded for it. So it's was a good trade. Everybody was happy. And that's the thing about the barter system that the government can't do nothing about. They can't charge any tax on it. These are things that people trade just within their own world, and there's absolutely no control they can have over it, and they never will. And we do that a lot around up in this North Country. Um, and so for us to kind of go along with what city slickers are doing, and I know people in the city trade too, don't get me wrong, but you know what I'm saying. It's a little different here, you know. It's a different environment, you know. We don't have to live next door to too many freaks, I guess, you know. At least not mass quantities of them. I guess maybe that's more accurate because a person really never knows who another person is unless you have known their soul for a very long time. It's something odd that Doug asked me yesterday if I ever felt like we felt like we had known each other before, but he was trying to say like he was my twin or my brother in another life, and I said more like my father. And then when he said that, and then a couple other things to go along with that, you could probably just about imagine. Then he's like, called me baby and said something about me being here for a very long time, like the rest of forever, if I knew how long forever was. And I said, well, that's not going to happen because God's got me under his wing and I'm his daughter and I'm not staying here. No. I said, nice try though, you know. Asshole. So anyway, like usual, just speak my mind, you know. That was his way of trying to say why he wasn't getting as close to me as he could have. That was that. So it's like, okay, yeah, sure. But anyway, there was something else I was going to say about that too. Oh, I knew just who he was when I met him. Oh, yeah. But I also know that my spirit isn't entirely here. And he tried to tell me that it was. And I said, well, I just know better than that. And this is just my flesh, so whatever. And it's not that I have had thoughts of sleeping with him because that just has not happened for a very long time, and it's not going to because there's no intimacy there. I mean, I have to be, somebody has to be like emotionally intimate with me. And most women used to kind of be like this before you're even putting your hands on me, you know. So. But then, on the other hand, I never promised to get so close to somebody that I lost my mind or my soul. And that was one stipulation that I always made with everybody. It's like God comes first. So if anything you want to do or think in your life goes opposite of that, you're going opposite of me. And it's just like I told Doug the second. I said, I'll trust you here, but the second you try and say you have a message from God for me, because I talk to God directly for myself, and the second you try and pull that shit on me, you're my foe right that second. So anything else, you know, have at it and go ahead and talk. But don't try and talk for God to me, you know. That's not how I get my information. I know in my heart when I'm doing something right or wrong. That's God's word written on my heart, you know. Anyway, it's very odd, isn't it all? Yeah. Well, I know that the so-called blue bloods, and all our blood is blue until the oxygen hits it. Look at my veins. Well, I'll show you that one. I had a pipe cut it. I don't know if you can see it, but my veins, you can see the blue in my vein, you know? But if you took a scalpel and poked it, it would be red because the oxygen hits it. And then that's when the iron, it's just like rusting, and rust will turn red. Same principle. Oxygen gets on there and starts to decay it immediately. That's what that is. So, so anyway, my point to today really is people that will do anything for their own gains. They will say anything for their own gains. It is a narcissistic world. Very few people really have true love on this planet. They say they do. And they say like they love their kids or their spouse or whatever. But they don't have it in their heart from the one who puts it there, and they don't operate like that, and they don't exhibit those types of behaviors, but yet they say they have love. You know, it's just like people that say they love their country and they're patriotic. Well, if you're a patriot, you wouldn't believe in war, but yet you do. You would be for your country. You wouldn't even be thinking of going somewhere else. And you can say, well, the Civil War or whatever, do you even know what that was about? Even like freeing the slaves, that was only so they would be behind enemy lines and be part of the army force. That was the only reason for that. And then when Sherman was through demolishing people in, I think it was Atlanta, but it might have been another city, he went up north and started murdering all the Plains Indians. So that's the way these people are. That's the way they operate. Everything they've said is a lie. Everything they'll ever say is a lie. And they are all sick, mentally ill, physically not as able as they could be, because it's all a here and now generation. What can I do for myself now? What's a little different if you actually have health problems that you have to deal with something now, like if you're diabetic, then you'd have to do the now thing, you know, or that as an example, you know. But to not think about the future and always just living in the now is what everybody's doing. They're not. And they can say, well, green this and green that. People, if you don't own a corporation or a great big company that's belching out all kinds of pollution and whatever, people have been recycling things and thinking about the future of their children for a very long time. We don't need somebody trying to control our every movement, trying to take control away from us and our children. That's not going to happen in my life. So, people try and submit me all the time. And there's one too. Makes you wonder and why. But you know how many times I've been beat down and held down by men, big men. What do you do if you can't, if you're overpowered? Well, you will learn to fight. That's for one thing. Do you think it's easy? No, it is not easy. These men pretending to be women, they need to be locked up. They're criminals. There's nothing in their brain telling them that they're female. There's something in their brain telling them they're an evil piece of shit that would compete against a woman. Yeah, scalpel time, buddy. That's what I suggest. That's my final answer on that. Well, thank you for joining me. I hope your week goes well. Yeah. God bless you. Thank you for joining me. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA. Have a good night or day, wherever you're at.